I never thought I'd ask this, but where are the spiders? Hey guys, it's Kate and welcome to my booktube. So today we are talking about episode 5 of the Percy Jackson TV show. I'm a little iffy about this one. I heard a lot of people were iffy about last episode, and I don't know if I agree. I had some moments that I felt a little weird about last episode, but overall I liked it. This one, though, I don't know. So Uncle Rick said that this is the episode where the show really goes up a notch, right? And so I was ready. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be so much like the book. It's gonna really up it to the next level. There's so much energy and stuff in this this chapter in the book, which is mainly one chapter. And they're gonna bring that back, right? That's what we're gonna get in this episode. And it wasn't. It didn't have the same vibes. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we're focusing a lot on making sure that the emotional through line is punctuated. And so a lot of the comedy is missing. And so I'm going to go first over, I think, what I really liked about this episode. And then we'll go over a little bit about the weirdness of it, right? So I did really like the episode. Adam Copeland was fantastic as Ares. If you might be able to tell, I kind of tried to dress as Ares a little bit today. I don't know, I just like going a little dark, so. And he was great. He was so funny. Just laugh out loud moments during his speaking scenes. And I really liked that we got to see Grover as intelligent and thoughtful during his conversation with Ares, and how he was able to trick him into saying things that he might not have been planning on saying, which was fantastic. And overall, I think that the scenes with Ares and the Vagina were really good. I was intrigued by the fact that Annabeth was the one that had a problem with Ares at first, and not Percy. Because instead of Percy being angry that entire scene just because he's all of his emotions are being put up to 11 because Ares is in the room and he has that ability, instead of it just automatically happening, Percy gets to slowly get angrier and angrier at Ares until he bursts at the end of the scene. Whereas Annabeth is immediately distrusting, which felt like a good turn for her character, because in the books, she's just worried about making him angry, and so she doesn't really seem to be thinking too much about why Ares is here. Whereas in this one, she's immediately suspicious. And then Grover, the same. He's also suspicious of Ares and immediately starts questioning him without it seeming like he's interrogating him. And it's great. It's great. So yeah, Ares was fantastic. When the scene opened and you saw the arch on fire, that was right out of my dreams. It was amazing. I was so excited because I've always pictured the image of Percy walking out of the river and just walking through all of these police cars and everything and trying to figure out what's going on now that he's came out. But so that was amazing. I think that was a decent place to put the Fates. It didn't seem dramatic enough, but that might be because Grover wasn't paying attention to them. And Grover, like, being over Percy's shoulder in the Fates scene in the book is really what makes it so dramatic, because they're, like, both just focusing on the Fates and trying to figure out what's going on. But, yeah, that's all great. Like, they finish up the arch scene well. Also, as I talked to my dad about while we were watching it, it made sense that they couldn't take the train, because I always thought it was a little weird that they were able to just easily get on a train after falling out of the arch, and everyone knows it's Percy Jackson, and yet he's able to just get onto the train and go. Like, it's nothing. It's like, dude, no. That's not realistic at all. And so them having to hitchhike for a while made sense. And so that also makes it make sense that they're not in Denver for that scene, because there's no, like, specific reason they need to be in Denver for, like, the water park and the diner and everything. It doesn't have to be in Denver. It just is in the book. Just happenstance that they get off the train in Denver and they can't go any farther because they don't have any more money. I thought that it was fine just having it, like, near St. Louis. Oh, again, back to Ares. The him starting Twitter wars was really funny. Even though by the time the episode came out, it's no longer called Twitter. I would not be shocked if they, like, ask him why he didn't call it X, if Adam Copeland is just like, that's stupid, why would I call it X? Because it's in character with Ares to just not care. Now on to some of the more negatives. Most of them have to do with the Waterland scene, right? Which breaks my heart, because I've been so excited to see this scene in live action for 15 years, and I just wasn't vibing with it. And I think the reason is because, once again, they focused on, like, emotion and, like, kind of politics over humor. And I think Percy Jackson should be political, don't get me wrong. And I'll talk more about that when I do my project that I'm working on, when that premieres. We'll talk more about that. It's just, sometimes scenes are supposed to be funny, and I think this was one of them. And so, like, I liked what they did. It was one of those moments where the changes were just too drastic. So, like, I was watching the whole scene, waiting for the spiders and the mesh, the net over them, and it getting more dramatic and more, like, moment to moment, we need to figure this out as it goes. And I don't know, it just felt like the timing, the vibe was off. Like, sure, the little, like, light show explanation of Hephaestus' life was kind of funny, but it shouldn't have been. It was, like, one of those moments where the joke is, oh, look how sad this is. And I'm sure if we're supposed to actually believe that Ares and Aphrodite went on that ride, that would be really uncomfortable for them to see. But I don't really know if that was the case. They kind of made it feel like Hephaestus just stole his shield and put it there. Though, to be fair, that would be a nice parallel to the whole Zeus thinking that someone stole his, item of power. Having, like, Hephaestus having obtained Ares' item of power. I never really thought of that connection. But still, it was weird. I did really like the emotional moments with Percy and Annabeth and having to make the choice of who was going to sit in the chair. And then Annabeth refusing to leave Percy behind, and how she was able to connect with Hephaestus through emotions. That was really nice. And I think that the guy playing Hephaestus did fine. I was kind of surprised. Like, I was excited for the actor because he's an amazing actor and he has, like, the same disability as, like, Hephaestus does in the mythology. And so I was like, this is gonna be so cool. But it just, I don't know, he didn't seem like Hephaestus. I mean, first of all, I wasn't getting blacksmith from him. You know, that wasn't the vibe I was getting. And I was getting more like Victor Timely from Loki, you know? Like, geeky, fixes things, but, like, I was expecting a little bit more, like, blacksmith. That's really, you know, how he comes across in the books, I think. And so I was being those big muscles, but with a disability. So I was a little surprised. And he was fine. And I think that he did the emotional moments well. Him and Leah really, like, did a good job playing off of each other in that scene. And I think that the gold covering Percy was cool. But I don't know, it just felt like we're focusing so much on, like, emotion in every single scene that there's never just moments where the scenes just feel completely wacky and out of their control. Like, it's too controlled. And what I've always liked about Percy Jackson is that it doesn't take itself too seriously, but also does, and feels like things feel so chaotic, but then it all comes together at the end. Like, it's that idea of, like, chaos versus order, and Percy Jackson's always been really good at understanding how both can exist at the same time. And this just feels, it doesn't feel chaotic enough. Like, it feels like they're, like, there's, like, a list, and they're checking things off of it, and it doesn't quite feel like things are just happening to them. And I feel like they're going to remove my favorite scene. I've told you guys, my favorite scene in the book is the waterbed scene. And I'm sure they're going to remove that. And I just gotta say that really feels disappointing, because that really is one of the scenes that just comes out of left field in the books. Like, they don't mean to go there. It's an accident. And it's like, even when they're not trying to do something connected to their world, they end up in the middle of it. And I like the fact that you never know what places are going to be safe and which places are not going to be safe, where there's going to be monsters and where there won't be. And I don't know, it just felt too controlled, too specific. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain this. It just felt wrong. Even though it was good. Like, the actors is fantastic and everything. I don't know. Also, I couldn't really see well what Percy was doing underwater to, like, save him and Annabeth in that scene. And I just feel like him, like, making the water appear in the original story to, like, wipe out all of the spiders is just such a cool image that really shows his power that he's, like, getting comfortable with. And it would have been so fun. Now, do I understand that maybe they removed the spiders because it makes Annabeth look weak? Yeah, but everyone has moments of weakness. I definitely do. And I think that Annabeth is relatable for being such a strong, independent woman who is terrified of spiders, you know? Like, you can be both. And so I, would have preferred if they kept the spiders in. Especially because it's such a cute little foreshadowing to, like, Mark of Athena. And so that would have been cool. But yeah. Overall, the episode was good. I liked it. But I do feel like they keep making the same types of changes from episode to episode, and they're starting to get a little annoying. Like, it doesn't quite feel like Percy Jackson anymore. It's like, do I like that they made Percy smarter? Sure. Do I like that they made Annabeth, like, more confident, I guess, and a little... She doesn't get as freaked out as often, right? She's, like, strong and ready. Yes. Do I like that Grover, like, does more and shows that he is also a smart, independent character who's not just comedic relief? Yes. Do I sometimes feel like those things are messing with their character growth? Yeah. Like, I feel like we're having them grow too quickly, or like these things being part of them already at this age feels too early. And so maybe I'll be wrong, maybe it'll all come together really well and I'll really like the ending, but like, let's just remember that they're 12. They don't have to grow up too quickly. And I think that is one thing that's really important about the series, is that they're allowed to be kids. And we should let them. And so I think that's something that I hope they remembered when writing the rest of the episodes. And it shows through, because they're not just like action heroes. They're children. They're just doing their best. Okay, just one more thing. So in the comments of the last episode, I got a comment. Yay. Got a whole comment. And it's Julie Noros. And she helped explain something from the last episode that made me understand their choices a lot better. So she explained that the Mississippi River does not go underneath the arch, which was much easier to see in this episode when you get to see everything from like overhead. I didn't quite understand that in the last episode. And so it makes sense that Percy wouldn't just jump out of a hole, because even if he is learning to trust his father in that scene, he doesn't have a river to jump into. It's way over there. And so it makes sense that they couldn't use that as an excuse anymore for Percy to trust his father. Instead, he had to trust him by breathing underwater for the first time. And it also makes sense why the water came out of like left field in the scene. It just came all the way from the left and picked him up and brought him to the river. So, that was my bad. I didn't know a lot about the geography of St. Louis. So, that's that. But I did want to say that does make more sense why they made the choices they made last episode. And it's always important to try to understand why they are making the choices they are, because it really does affect the story. They had to make different choices in the episode because they couldn't just pretend that the river was underneath the Mississippi. You have to fix the mistakes that were made because, Rick didn't visit the arch before he wrote the book, Things happen. And so as much as I complain about certain details, it's important to understand that they make the choices for a reason, and we might not always be able to understand why they make certain choices, but it's good to try to understand, and maybe one day we'll get it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.